Welcome everybody to the Onward VR Master League. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. I'm joined by my co-caster TFH. How are you doing today, Todd?
Oh, I am doing great. Good to be back at the desk after a little bit of a break and really excited for this matchup today.
Yeah, hopefully you're feeling freshened up for some good mid-tier VRML combat. It is Season 10. It is Week 3. We got Riot versus Water. Riot, a silver-ranked team right now, versus Water, gold, just on the cusp of breaking out of that ranking. What kind of match are you expecting today, Todd? I don't really know what's going to be on the plate.
Well, Riot, in my experience, now I'm a former Riot member, and granted they could have changed the amount of, in the whole season that I have been gone, but, Riot have previously been a very kind of play it by feel or play it by the seat of their pants kind of team. They don't strategize heavily. They just kind of go into a match kind of understanding how the other team plays and kind of just work with that kind of a flow. Now, Water, on the other hand, have gone through a little bit of a lineup change ever since they've had their whole lineup change with Keija departing and Lich King departing, but they picked up some really expert league players, R. Semper being one of them, and he plays a little bit more methodically, him being former Mob Squad. So it's kind of a battle of the two different kind of principles here, to the feel aggression versus more methodical, precision, and we're going to kind of see how these balance out here.
Yeah, I want to see if Water's able to bounce back off of a rough start to their season. 3 losses in a row. Dark Matter, G-Men, and Rough Riders, arguably not exactly the easiest teams to go up against to kick your season off, but definitely had a bit of a shaky start, so I'm interested to see if they'll be able to rally back against Riot. All the votes nearly on Connoisseur are in the favor of Water, but I want to pick up this game because I think Riot's the underdog here, but I think they have a chance of taking this series against Water.
Yeah, I'm going to directly state my bias here. I said it before, I'm a former Riot guy, and I'm a huge Riot fan now. I'm probably their #1 fan, so obviously I'm going to try my best to keep it as neutral as possible, but deep down inside of me, I am a diehard Riot fan.
Well, then I suppose I'm picking your side today, Todd, because I just think that, I don't know what to expect out of Water. If Water comes in and they decide that they want to start playing deserved of their rank, then I certainly think it's going to be a challenge for this Riot squad. But I don't quite. We still don't have full rosters, so I'm not sure who's going to be in. But I'm not sure what the outcome's going to be. It's kind of a toss-up in my mind. This is why I wanted to drop into the cast today, because I'm interested to see. We got some other stuff we can talk about before we get into rosters, though. Todd, what do we got on pick bans for today?
Well, for the ban today coming out from Riot, we're going to have a pretty common one. And I kind of agree with this one. It's Snow Peak. Now, Riot may not have practiced Snow Peak often. And, we didn't practice it back in my days on the team. So I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of still is the case. And so it's a safety ban. It's not that they don't feel like they're any good at it. They just don't want to play something that's a bit of a wild card to them.
Sure.
Water, on the other hand, have banned Quarantine, which I feel like is actually one of the more played maps in all of the leagues. So maybe Riot have got something that Water just really don't want to mess with, and they don't even want to see that at all.
Yeah, I interesting Quarantine ban there. It still leaves open a lot of very dangerous maps. Like you still have Cargo and Suburbia and all these other close quarters maps that Quarantine kind of, in a way, mimics. But it also does leave stuff like Downfall open. Obviously Bizarre with its long angles. So options still there on the table for both teams in terms of what they want to go into and how they want to play. We are still waiting on a 5th from, I believe it's Water.
Yeah, we've got Add-on, Engage, Phonic, and Etch, but we're still waiting on one more. I'm going to imagine it's R. Semper. I have been seeing that man around in lobbies like 24/7. It's pretty insane, and he's definitely put in the work here. I'm gonna say he's gonna be a definite Water powerhouse in this match at least, let alone the season.
And if you have been paying attention, you may have seen a teaser of the map to come. It is going to be Cargo. so we're kicking things off with just I don't know. I just don't know what to expect today. That's why I love watching these mid-tier battles. I'm so interested to see what kind of strategies we see being brought to the table.
And Riot typically like to use cargo as kind of a way to feel up a team before, you know, going off into other maps, kind of seeing like, okay, if this cargo round really went well, we should play like Tanker or Suburbia, something to keep the range close and keep the playstyle the same. But if it's not going that well for Riot, they can change it and, you know, play it maybe with the distance in mind, you know, normally a Q1, but in this case it's banned, so we could go to, you know, Downfall or anything else that brings the space. Now, we've already banned 2 of them with Snowpeak in mind, but granted, Snowpeak is kind of the unwanted child of the maps right now.
Interesting ban, because, like, you could take in other considerations, right? You know, the odds are teams aren't going to pick Snowpeak, in my eyes. And so banning it could be seen in some perspectives as a waste of a ban, because maybe they could have banned Downfall, you know, and then leave a more unlikely long-range map to get picked. Same time, maybe they feel comfortable on Downfall, so they don't want to get that off the table. You know, there could be all sorts of factors into why Riot picks Snowpeak, but yeah, it's just, you know, things you got to think about as a team before you get into each match. The little nuances of the pick ban phase that, you know, it is another competitive element of the game. You know, what maps you choose and when you choose them.
Well, we do have that 5th member of Water on in here. It is our Semper. Therefore, we get to go through the rosters now. On Riot's side, we have the Unseen Threat, also known as just Unseen, Sweet Bean and Jelly, Dr. Sean, one of the newer pickups from the 5 Horsemen. And speaking of the 5 Horsemen, we also have Reefer Madness coming over from that merger of the 5 Horsemen and Riot. And then capping out Riot's 5th, it is strong player for their squad. It is Ebos. On the Water side, we've got Add-on Assassin, Phonic6161, one of the former Mob Squad members, Engage, Etch the Boss, and the other very famous Mob Squad member that we were just talking about earlier. It's our Semper.
Now, hadn't mobs where did the rest of Mob Squad go? Animal House, right?
So the way it went initially was that Animal House tried to incorporate the remaining members of Mob Squad when a bunch of IRL things happened to Bluega, Smithy, and Plots, I think.
Sure.
And they just really couldn't play for Season 8. Now, in Season 9, they were like, okay, we want to play, but we can't play as 3 members. Animal House needs 3 members. Let's go to that team. And I guess things just didn't work out as planned, and so our Semper and Phonic chose to pursue other opportunities, in this case Water, while Nola might actually kind of liked it over there, and he is still with Animal House to this day.
How recent are these? When is this his first game with Water officially?
Oh no, he's played a couple games in Season 9 before, I believe, on Cast. We've seen I know
Season 10?
You might not have, but at least I've seen you know, Water kind of going through its, you know, regrowth, its regrowing pains after having the great schism of Kija and Lich and the Wilselm and remembering the last member, it's Zucchini Zhang, right? And then regrowing with Add-on and, you know, the rest of Mob Squad kind of joining and becoming the next Mob 2.0, you know.
Jeez, you're like a secret little notebook that you're keeping this all in?
My mind. I'm a huge, like, history nerd in real life, so I guess these skills come into play. One day, Old Man Todd will be telling all the youngins about the stories of the Onward Master League. All the tales of drama and glory that come from, you know, VR esports.
Yeah, it'll be a great tale, and I'm looking forward to the day. We're all old and grizzled from our esports. Wonder what we're waiting on here. All 10 in lobby. Everyone's readied up. As I say it, they must be listening, Todd. They know we want the action.
You have the magic voice, I believe.
Well,
you totally jinxed it.
Hopefully I didn't jinx it. Hopefully it's going to be a good series. We'll see if it is.
I'm knocking on wood.
I know, right? Yeah. Everyone, please. As we hop in, Riot versus Water, round 1, map 1, Water on the defense. Got ourselves a kind of a wild first objective.
Yeah, the diamond objective, as some like to call it, because of the shape of the cargo containers, can really bring out a lot of chaos. And it looks like Riot's actually not playing too aggressively right now. They're letting Reefer kind of stick out here, try to sight these enemy positions, and let Riot work off these. Sweet Bean Jelly works with those call-outs, is working his way on up. Engage is monitoring that crack, I think, that's between the two buildings, but so far, no shots have gone out either to Reefer or Sweet Bean, for that matter, yet.
Yeah, Reefer called out Engage, called out 2, you might have heard. That's the number of these buildings here in the middle. Nade comes in, a nice toss from Reefer. Just barely gets around the edge of that door and catches Semper out. Semper's down, may call the res from Engage. Oddly enough, Engage is still here. Here's the smokes. He pushes out. They almost forgot about him inside, too. Suddenly, he gets scooped up in the back. The shield push coming in from Reefer catches 2. Now Aiden trying to defend here. Wildly throws a C4 around the corner. That's an insta-kill. That's a huge pickup. Potential shield in Aiden's hand if he does rotate around for it. Phonic also swinging here, looking for shots onto Unseen. Finds those. It's a 2v2.
Yeah, just the staggered smokes coming in is a great idea from Riot, but the aggression was not unified. Therefore, there wasn't that much pressure being put on. Dr. Sean, or Evos actually finds Phonic. Dr. Sean and Add-On are at it with each other, but none are able to get a pick onto each other decisively. Evos shoots, or no, Dr. Sean shoots Add-On, and Riot will take the first point.
A bit of a wild smoke push there from Riot to end it. All it does, scoop them up. That final kill, and as expected, a bit of a hectic back and forth. But if this is how it's going to be, I think this is a good indicator. I think we might be in for a nice little series, because that was a great round 1.
And I was saying before that Water kind of played a little bit slower, but it doesn't mean that they don't play aggressively. They definitely do. They have some very aggressive players on their team. They choose to reserve the aggression a little bit for the last minute and then start pushing out. So we saw it there in the beginning of that round. We saw one member of Water, I forget whose name it is, and that is my apologies, but pushing out to that middle complex and then waiting for his opportunity to be able to get around the shield so he doesn't, get himself pinched in an awkward position, and was able to pick up a couple and almost stagger the Riot offense, but Riot were able to just collect that and be able to work their way on in.
I'm telling you, I think the connoisseur votes might get spoiled today. And take a look. I think it was literally 20-1.
Yeah, and I am the one on the right side. So it's very public. I am a Riot fan, and I will stay a Riot fan for as long as I possibly can. Mainly because that team has offered me so much growth in this league, like becoming a caster, whatnot. Like, I owe it a lot to this team.
Fun round 1. I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to this series. I think it's going to shake out to be an exciting one. And I think we're going to see Riot potentially take it, although who knows. Love to see Water put up a good fight. And honestly, they had a decent defensive round here, and I'm really interested to see how they attack, how the Mob Squad Semper Phonic duo push through. We dive into round number 2.
Yeah, even though Riot's an older team, Riot actually has more of the young blood on their side, while Water has more of the old goats, the weathered league players. Ooh, Ebos, the young gun, one of them fights Semper, and Dr. Sean gets another one to add on. Water are just evaporating away here. When Engage is working his way on up, and sees them underneath that doorway, and they shut that one down as well. Riot take a second point within seconds.
They absolutely shut that down. Great defensive angles there from both sides. I mean, the prone position at objective, catching out a couple of kills. The solid defensive setup there from Riot, and Water just kept, so fast. They just got scooped up at every exit they made. Every single one. As soon as they tried to step out and push objective, they went down.
Yeah, Riot had some really great coverage of that objective. They were holding every single lane that possible, and what happened there was that water. This might have been just a mistake or kind of like an error in the planning, but it looked like that they were kind of coming in one at a
Yeah,
time. They were
yeah,
dripping on into the objective. If I can make a water pun, but uh,
it's two.
they were able to survive to the next round.
Sorry there for the audio issues, Todd. You are now back onto
Oh!
the scene, but yeah, it's everything's fixed just in time for round 3.
That's what's important. Oh, don't worry about Todd in between game.
It's not what I meant to do, okay? It just happened. I don't know what happened.
No, that wasn't sarcasm. I was providing word of advice to everyone. Just don't worry about me mid game.
Oh,
It's like only like 50% correct.
I think you get right than that, Todd. Give yourself more credit.
I'm more of a conservative kind of estimator.
Riot
Well,
playing
really popular on Craigslist.
Riot playing this one a little bit more conservatively. They're not pushing forward too hard, although Aiden over the top of the shield gets scooped up. Or Ebos, excuse me. Aiden finding that kill, and Reefer Madness now alone with the shield. Waiting to see if there's
he's
gonna
not holding a pistol, he's holding a nade. Oh, he's launched it. Will this land? No! The rotation comes back, and that nade will not be as deadly as before. Riot are being really conservative on this round. They have not even really pushed outside of their half of the map.
Hasn't really worked out. 3 down now. I was waiting to see if there was a C4 somewhere around there because they knew the shield was there. The confirm comes in, and now Riot down to 2 in a 2v5. Water really turning things around here with this defensive setup. Unseen does pick up Phonic. The nice little angles there between the boxes. He's looking for another shot. Finds Semper looking for the refrag as well. That's 2. Water sort of flinging away their defense. The smokes are out on objective. Dr. Sean dodges the C4.
Oh yeah, and he might be able to pick himself up a very nice little kill here, but no, the smoke covers add-on. Well, not until now. Dr. Sean will be able to get that one.
Wow. Over-aggression from Water is just killing him here.
Yeah, and Dr. Shot's been super quiet here. Oh, he tried to go for Etch the boss, but Engage is able to save Etch's life. Now we're into a 1v2.
That was huge for Engage. That was about to be, a double kill there and a huge 2v5 comeback for Riot. Now we are into a 1v2, so they have done a good job of evening the odds, and I'm curious if Unseen can find any more kills this round, as he has already found a few.
Yeah, he's Unseen's probably one of the slower players on Riot. He typically plays it really slow, and he's really good about checking every single angle he does. And he's such a really powerful brawler, so I have faith that Riot can come away with the 3rd point here, but Water are looking really good at the same time.
Prepped.
Yeah, I don't think he's throwing it the right way, though. Good throw, though.
Very least, it confirm him. Heard the footsteps out of Etch. I think he may have seen that back there. Right move. Engage peeks, doesn't spot Unseen. Peeks up and misses shots. Engage finds them, and Water on the board. And that was huge. If they didn't get that one right here, it was I think those Waters map 4-0 because they were just Riot's map because Riot was really just running away with momentum for those first 2 rounds. So a good comeback for Water, very needed.
Yeah, and I was noticing there's a little bit less usage of the utility on that round. We did see, at least from Riot's perspective, I'm just mentioning that, but we did see a couple smokes going out there, but it wasn't anything massive to be able to kind of cover angles or block lines of sight or force rotations to come out from Water. So I think Riot have really pushed the stops in, I should say, actually, and have slowed down the play. Maybe that's kind of what hurt them in that round.
I was thinking too. Exactly what I was thinking. As they were slow pushing, as they were down 3-5 right away, it just seemed like the slow momentum, the change in pace was not exactly what they needed. Now, obviously, you go on to defense. You just got to play pretty. I mean, this objective too. You can play it very conservatively. But I'm interested to see if they'll get aggressive with some C4 placements. They'll try and push into those middle. Buildings or not, but yeah, we're in it. I'm glad Water answered back. What I expected more. This is what I expected. A bit more of a even scoreline. I mean, you look at the KDs; they're almost even across the board.
Yeah, it really shows that there's some definite teamwork coming out on both sides.
Yeah.
Like everyone's pulling their own weight. It's not just one person doing all the work and everyone else just making sure that he doesn't die.
If you are tuning in and you have a Twitter account, get on over to Onward_VRML. Broadcast the game to all your friends.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter too. We should really mention that we have a Twitter.
I think of some things a little late sometimes over here at the VRML, but we got it eventually. Where's the 5th? Oh, do they put?
Oh,
they put 2 over there at barrel. That's interesting.
Oh, this is a very hard push coming out from Add-On and Water, but Riot have hunkered down. Ooh, the push comes out from Doctor. He might be able to radio this out. Phonic is finding his way around the objective. This might surprise Riot. Evos doesn't hear it. The cap is coming out. Evos goes down. Oh, there's 2 members of Riot up. This could be Water taking the lead again right here. If Phonic's able to get the code in, he's being late and unseen, doesn't recognize what's going on. The smokes obscure the cap, and Water will take the 3 points.
Great smoke out. Great, suppressive fire to drown out the audio of footsteps coming up on objective. A little long on the cap entry. Okay, admittedly, I'll say it. They felt a little lengthy on the cap entry, but he was there. What do? You're not expecting someone to be back there. They were about to go check it. You saw the rotation there at the end of that clip as they were swinging around to check the backside of objective, but it was just a little too late. And I think it was the double investment at barrels. I think it was having one inside, one outside that ultimately caused the disparity in coverage on objective.
Yeah, it's really important to make sure that if you're going to have people who are far out, make sure that you still have a very solid core around the objective that can easily rotate to objective no matter what the circumstance is. So it's okay to have, 2 people at barrels, maybe send one of them to flank around once the round starts going your way, but don't over-invest into a very pushed out defense. As a matter of fact, invest into a very laid back defense. You can rotate easier.
It's interesting because we were just saying Riot needed to play a little bit more aggressive, and that was them playing aggressive on defense. That was an aggressive defense for that objective. To be that far forward, you don't need to be that far forward on that objective. You can stay way more tucked in. You don't need to be investing in yellow room. They have to cross that dead zone where they smoke, and if you just invest in defending that, you win. So, what do we know here at the desk is what I'm saying.
We know nothing. I do want to point out that smoke sometimes obscure your vision of the tablet when you're capping, so that might have come into play, entering the wrong vision and not realizing it. So it can be a little bit more challenging when you're under that kind of cover, but it worked out in the end. It obscured him from unseen, and he was eventually able to get the the 7-digit code in, which is in the end all that matters.
Rough for Riot though. Great start to this map, and Now a 3-point swing in the favor of water. I think they're going to try and orchestrate a push of their own as the smokes do come out, and they are pretty thick, but not really aggression following up those smokes.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to make sure that they could get crosses going or just throwing smokes for the heck of it. Either way works, but you got to be able to act on them, otherwise those smokes will run out of steam. Unseen is able to find our Semper as he pushes out. You know, another thing that's kind of something interesting to mention, smokes can help enemy rotations as well.
Yep. Exactly what I was going to say as those smokes came in, that they got etched into that corner undetected. They had our Semper push up undetected. The enemy can use your smokes as much as you can to deny vision, so good application there from Riot. Yeah, that's not a great
speaking of useless smokes. At least the people on the upstairs can't see what's going on. Having Reaper out, though, kind of being on the vanguard of this approach.
Semper. Oh, Reaper's out in the front. Yeah, I was thinking Semper is down now for them. That's a big down for water.
Oh, that Nate. Unseen might have realized. No, Unseen doesn't realize Etch's location. That is a very nice spot for Etch. That might confuse Riot, and Reaper's not even reacting to the fact that someone literally to the left of him has just been murdered.
Here's EVOS. It's very strange. They don't seem to be aware of this, even though I'm sure they could have heard the comms. Now he is definitely aware of it. The pistol does clip the shoulder. Doctor finds Aiden on the backside out of tunnels.
Etch is going for the rotation here. He hears Ebos. Ebos isn't ready for that rotation. And now Reaper's finally able to get a pick from the G17. The Glock is really nice for those kinds of things because of that massive ammo capacity. You don't have to worry about reloading, but you do have to dump more shots in.
While there was tension and we were watching it, there was some wild action in the center, and Engage is orchestrating a comeback, and he's just going to keep pushing. Reaper finds the final kill. No, it doesn't come in.
Got him.
Was the aggression needed?
No, I don't think it was. The last thing you want to do is get yourself in a tangle with the shield off of the objective. There's no advantage there. Stay on the objective and force the timer to run out, because, you know, I know 100% certain that Riot was not keeping track of comms or, you know, kill counts there because of so many trades. So the shield would have had to check every single corner on the way in. That's more and more time to allow more and more pressure to fall on the shield to get, you know, the code in or something like that on time. Well, I do think the Connoisseur's listing is very improper already. We're at 3-3 on map 1. Next round decides it all. Night, what are you thinking, man?
I just posted in Discord that all your league connoisseur votes mean nothing. Riot vs. Water is currently 3-3, so I'm in a complete agreement with you, Todd. They are, I don't know, it's a great series. Riot certainly outperforming the community's expectations, but not necessarily yours or mine, Todd.
No, I always see the 0 as a challenge. You know, the 0 stars. It's like, I'm going to be the one guy who voted for the underdog here one of these days, you know? A lot of times it is true.
Meanwhile, what's Todd's percentage on the connoisseurs? Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's probably god awful. It's probably, you don't want to take my strategies, but at the same time, I think that I am a genius.
Gold said you're Neo.
I am Neo. Ooh. I am honored.
That did Todd just funny this probably. And that's how we interact. 6 minutes delayed. It's fun stuff.
Time travel, dude. Time travel. A lot of shots coming out from water here, trying to limit that Riot rotation, making sure that they can't get onto the objective. And it seems to work so far. No one is behind the propane tank. Engage is able to find Reaper Madness. It hasn't even been 15 seconds yet.
Reaper was going for a really aggressive maneuver there. I mean, look where he died. We were tracking him that whole way through, and super aggressive. The C4 detonates and kills Sweet Bean.
Ooh, this is not the way you want to start off. The round decider. Can be reiterated enough.
Engage is just charging in.
Yeah, nothing is really stopping this water approach except for the one death they had, but Riot have taken 2, and I'm pretty sure water are pretty happy about that. You know, it just popped in my mind though. Water's kill counts are off because the C4 is a self-down. Maybe that will throw a cog into the loop. C4. Ooh, it was so close. Might have been able to find engage.
3 seconds earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, if it was. I was hoping that the angle would line up, but lo and behold, either that or the range wasn't there, but I still think it was a great throw. It's interesting following up all that pre-fire with a really slow approach. Riot can still, you know, move their way over to the objective if they choose to, but I think this is a planned defense. They're not trying. Ooh, Unseen with the quick peek is able to find our Sepper. He's looking for the second one. Add-on's able to respond appropriately. Able to take down Unseen. Now Ebos is looking for that refrag. The aggression is there. Add-on fights that one. Now it's only one member of Riot left. They're in battle. Dr. Sean is kind of drawn out there from his position, and Water will take map 1.
Wow. We jinxed it, Todd. We stand corrected. Water does take map 1, and it was Riot's map choice. Not mistaken, because I believe they are home. So, what has been a good back and forth, I do hope to continue. Yeah, this is really the challenge now. You know, Riot did a good job on map 1, but to lose 3-4 is tough. You know, those losses hit harder than an 0-4 in a lot of times, because you could be out of an 0-4 quick and go, you know, kind of slap yourself and go, okay, look, hey, let's reset, come back into this next map and figure it out. There, it's kind of like, well, shoot, we just tried so hard and just missed. I have to do that all over again for their not your map choice. Granted, they're starting defense, but I mean, Suburbia kind of just I wouldn't even say that there's necessarily a Vulcan thing.
Yeah, so many people practice it so many times that isn't really a particular advantage if someone chooses it anymore. Like, everyone's practiced it a million times. Everyone knows the callouts. Everyone knows how it's laid out. Like, it's interesting that Water's actually choosing this, and a lot of tier teams don't, because they feel like that there is no competitive advantage on Suburbia because of the vast amount of times that it is played. But who knows? I think this is a great opportunity for Riot because I know that they can be very strong on this map. This is also a great opportunity for Water to, you know, prove the connoisseurs right.
Yeah, it is. Oh, that cap, man, that was so huge. That's a great push. That's a timely push. Brought him back from that 1-2 deficit to 3-2, and then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That. I think the capping is more important with how it can swing, you know, the mentality of a match more than the points that it gives. We saw it in the finals, man. Globochem versus beginners. It was going horribly for Globochem, and then Otto gets the world's longest cap I've ever seen. And boom, Globochem just kick it into gear, and they were able to get a championship off of that kind of momentum.
Any subs here?
Oh, no, everyone is, you know, those no new faces there. I think they're just strategizing. Keep in mind, the first round in the tent doesn't have a timer in order to allow for everyone to get in, so the first round usually takes a little bit longer to start up because it doesn't have, you know, that hard deadline associated with it. And it's nice because then it could be, you know, for whichever team, it's a nice little reset, a bit of a breather. They can go back to their core, you know, core mentality or core thought process of, you know, how they want to approach this match.
Certainly is a long, a long time between maps, though. So,
well,
here.
while we're waiting, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors. Pro2VR. What you probably know this way better than I do by now. There are so many, but we have the OG sponsors, Pro2VR and VR Cover. Now we got Fixed Gaming, Rebuff Reality, Cyber Shoes. Knight, I'm missing a bunch. Fill me in here.
I think you got most. Got them. Oh, and B Haptics is the one you're missing.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
7.
I need to write down like a sticky note and just tape it onto my computer so I can just chug through that massive list of people who have chosen to support the amazing world of VR esports.
It's you know, small scale right now, so understandably it's really impressive that we have so many sponsors for it, and it's really cool because it's going to be the future. It's going to continue to grow, and it's started to actually gain quite a lot of traction. The Quest is going to infuse a huge amount of players into this league, and I just can't wait for that support to hit Onward, because it's done a ton for the Echo community.
Yeah, well, we have to wait no longer. The players are in the round, and we're going to have a burning house objective to start this map 2 off. I don't really think there's a better objective to start it off on.
So lagging.
Fat guy in little.
I might hop out and get like game hopping because I'm lagging a bit still.
Seeing a pretty condensed defense from Riot. They're not using the entirety of the map. They're kind of actually staying behind the objective. Ooh, Ebos is already able to find add-on as he tried to push out along lane 4.
That's a big pick, catching out the early aggression before any of these nades come in. Unfortunate for Ebos, or not for Ebos, for Water, yeah, but nice little job there. And yeah, this is a defense we've seen from other teams in the league. Pretty standard. You set up 3 different sort of points. The only difference here is Dr. Sean's position. Sweet Bean does catch engage up through the center. A shot through tank. We see that as a really effective angle that a lot of Volk like to hold.
And now Water know that they're 2 men down, and they know that they don't have any kills against Riot, and so that has really slowed up their offense. And that nade would have been so good if you were watching Edge.
I was.
That landed. If that just had a little bit more power thrown in it, that would have been an amazing nade. But unfortunately, that's just not how it goes, and that is the way of Onward. But I was saying before, Water have kind of been slowed up here massively. They are coming off of a map win, but this map change has kind of reset them.
So it seems, right? Maybe able to sort of do what they did on that first map and come out the gate with a nice little 1 or 2 point lead at the very least. It's then going to be a matter of executing on those remaining rounds. Our Semper slowly inching his way forward. I think this is going to be the Reefer Madness or Dr. Sean finding the angle on the Semper if he's careful.
Yeah, and another thing I want to point out is it's interesting. Water had their best results whenever they had smokes or, you know, some kind of chaos on the objective on their side, but they don't seem to be doing that right now. They're just looking for angles, looking for picks, and I'd almost say just go for the chaos. Go for the chaos, force the weird rotations out from Riot, make them get unsure of themselves, and then thrive off that, maybe try to secure the round that way.
Just on the other side, being on patio, aware of Semper, but not radioing in this information to the rest of his team, and that could be risky if he's not too careful, because Semper could get into 2-story. Now's the time to radio that in.
Yeah, now Semper is very aware that there is some hostility literally at his front door.
But I mean, it's interesting because the defensive setup here, Semper doesn't have an angle on anyone from the 2-story here.
Yeah, they are extremely tucked in right now, and I think they're very conscious of the fact that they're pretty much giving up the middle house except for whatever Reefer can find. Reefer's there, I think, mainly just to be kind of like a mental block for our Semper in this case. Just let our Semper like have to figure out how to solve this problem of getting past Reefer. and that will slow them up. And we've already used up half the round time for water just to move up a couple of feet effectively.
Yeah, they're certainly going pretty staying slow. Etch and Phonic in the back end here, taking their time, working their way up through first round. Respectively, they're down. They're just trying to assess. Getting no information except for Etch here with shots onto the corner.
Ooh, Arsemper is able to find that angle onto Reaper. That'll free him up a little bit and maybe free up some lanes to find the rest of Riot.
I think this Reaper just getting a little over aggressive, you know. Again, the angle he was holding couldn't be found from really anywhere unless Reaper peeked out, and I think that's going to go the same for back there. Sweet Bean behind the tank, as long as they tucked in.
Yeah,
Their
Sweet
defense
Bean's
is good.
position is not the best when it comes to Phonic and Arsemper's position, because the front of the tank is a slope, and that can make it very challenging to defend from because you have to worry about your legs being exposed before your head gets exposed.
Right.
So it's not the greatest cover, but having Dr. Sean where he is kind of behind them, reinforce that position and make sure that no one's really peeking you before you get peeked is a nice little touch to that. It works. He is able to find Phonic. Now Arsemper is going to be trying to look for this refrag. I think he's a little bit more worried about Sweet Bean's positioning, maybe kind of thinking that Sweet Bean is the cause of that, but before he can rotate away, Sweet Bean does find Arsemper, and now we're into a 1v4 with 40 seconds remaining.
This Riot defense just picking apart water. Really nice defensive setup. I like Dr. Sean's angle. Shots coming in here from Etch, just missing onto Ebos. Unseen finds him through the shrubs, and that's Riot with 4 left alive on their defensive round 1.
Yeah, definitely a great performance from Riot, even though there really wasn't much performing going on, but it was just what they needed. They just stayed tucked. They wait for water to get extremely aggressive, and that really shook water up. They had to really kind of come back and have a bit of a mental, you know, reset, and Riot just really got into their minds, I think, and they completely toyed with them and got a round win out of it.
Solid defensive setup there. Take a look at the KDs coming in. Arsemper with the only pickup. That's a, I mean, that's a good way to shut down momentum. You know, come out, not allow very many kills onto the team's side. Either you really ice them after a round win or a map win. It's a good way to answer.
It's said very often that kills don't really matter in this game, but in a way they do. They are a player's you know, credit, or what's the word for this? It's their reputation. You know, a good player has a good kill to death ratio or a high kill counter, what have you. And if none of your team have kills coming off of round 1, that is devastating.
Water definitely not going to count them out, though. That would be foolish after what they've done on that first map. The cap on a being down, bringing it back 3-2, and then winning that map. They answer, so.
I think this is probably one of the more capable objectives. So we just saw Water make an attempt at it, and it did not go well. But this is Riot's attempt at it. Maybe they can get a cap back here.
See what happens. Riot exiting spawn for round 2.
Looks like they're going to play kind of similar to how Water just did. You know, with the
did cross Arsemper's vision. Semper aware of Sweet Bean's location.
And the last thing you want to be doing when you're playing this kind of play style is to be making crosses and rotations, because you're going to be crouching your way across. Ooh, our Semper's able to find Ebos as well. This might go in the way of water here at this rate. We saw how Riot were able to build off of one kill, but the last thing you want to be doing when you're playing slow is making rotations across very exposed areas, and that could potentially be devastating to Riot if Water are able to capitalize on that.
When I tank.
Phonic, a bit of a forward defensive position on the west side. Unseen, probably not ready for Phonic to be up here against the building, but we'll see how he approaches here probably in a few minutes. The rest of Riot working in side of Playground, ready to approach Aiden with nades. Smoke exactly where he wanted to go, I would imagine.
Yeah, the smokes can be a little tricky at times, especially when you're throwing a shield, because sometimes they can hit the shield and that completely throws off the aim. I think Reaper is very aware of Aiden's position, and so is Aiden. He's rotating back around when he notices the shield isn't really trying to go for that cap. He's actually in a really good spot to be able to shut down both sides. Unseen will trade with Phonic, though, so now we're into a 4v4 now. Or 4v3, I should say. Sorry. Sweet Beans trying to go for that refrag, is not able to peek through the bushes onto Etch the boss, but Etch launches a nade. It lands on the roof. Can it roll down in time? No, it won't. It's all about that. It's all about that muscle memory.
Sweet Beans getting hit from, or sorry, Etch getting hit from two different sides here. Dr. Sean putting rounds downrange and Sweet Bean, so the pre-fire does finally catch Etch. It's a 3-3 now. Riot trying to push in on objective.
Ooh, and Reaper and Dr. Sean are strategically placing smokes. Engage is able to find Sweet Bean. Now we're into a 2v3. It's literally just Dr. Sean and Reaper Madness, the former Five Horsemen members. Reaper works his way around here. He has to worry about add-on right there. He sees add-on. He goes for the kill. Objective is opened up. This is potentially a cap right here. The rotation comes in from our Semper. Reaper Madness is going for code. He's going to get shut down. And Water will get a point there off of Greed.
I think he went for his... I don't know if he meant to drop his pistol, but he did. And so he didn't really even have the option to go for shots there. So I think he just tried to pull the pad, punch in the code as fast as he could. And Semper was there to deny it, fortunately. Otherwise, that could have been bad news for Water. So nice job of denying the push, albeit a close bit of back and forth for a while there. And we're tied up for map 2.
One of the more challenging things about playing the shield is when you're on objective, do you go for code, or do you literally pull all your gear out and get set up again and then fight? Because normally when you're capping, you just pull out your gun if you're interrupted on a cap and you just go nuts. But when you have a shield, you have to make sure you're grabbing the shield, not the tablet again, and then grab the pistol, and hopefully your laser or flashlight is on, whatever you use to aim, and then kind of get yourself set up. Usually a lot of shield play is literally setting yourself up and finding good opportunities, but when you're on objective like that, you become vulnerable. You are literally in the center of the enemy defense. You can be attacked from any side. It's not the best place to fight it out, and so maybe there is some virtue to trying to get a really quick cap in under our Semper, but I just really think that wouldn't have worked either way with Dr. Sean out of the picture there.
Solid mid-tier matchup in the middle of the week. Very happy to be dropping in on this one, that's for sure. And we're getting a bit of a longer time between rounds here now, as maybe Water tries to hash out a attack plan for round 3.
Yeah, it's been trading rounds the entire game so far, and that's exactly how I like it.
I'm gonna launch my smokes behind.
Having some great maps so far. Cargo to Suburbia, two of my favorites personally, just because I really like that close range action, that really fast-paced gameplay. Looking like we're seeing a pretty similar Riot setup, except for the two that are in the house.
I would argue it's pretty different. Got Doc inside, Reefer inside, nobody covering the APC except for Dr. Sean.
I think Riot did learn their lesson from the first cap, that they're too easy to cap on with their cargo setup, you know, having the two people at the barrels before and not allowing that rotation to come back to stop the cap at least, or die on objective. So now they're playing pretty close to it, except for, you know, Dr. Sean and Reefer Madness, but they're in a spot where they're going to be taken out first, just like Add-On just did, before they can get onto the objective. And Engage will find himself, Dr. Sean as well, and the middle house is just gone for Riot.
Caught him through the window, so a nice pickup there for sure. 4v3, they've got control of the two-story. Sweet Bean's trying to put out some fire downrange. That's a risky spot, eventually very vulnerable to some potential nading if there's any utility left on the side of water.
Yeah, and Sweet Bean's at the same location he was before, so maybe this is a good chance for Water to kind of tap into their memory and remember that, hey, he was there before, maybe we should just nade it, you know? Nade does come of that. Might be able to find Sweet Bean through the tracks, but no, it won't. The range just wasn't there, or the angles just didn't line up. It's a little finicky because you're literally hoping an explosion goes through a bunch of tire treads. And I believe that Ebos might have primed a nade accidentally. Yes, he did, but he's able to run away from it just in time. Sweet Bean's able to find Etch the boss as he tried to rotate around the burning building. Now we're into a 3v2. Alexander's able to find Ebos. Water have that middle house, and that is such a powerful location. Engage is able to find Sweet Bean Jelly, and Add-On's able to find Unseen. Water will take another round.
That was a rapid bit of killing there done by Waters, and just sequentially picking off the remaining defenders of Riot. Very nice answer back from them. Now I think this is the first time they've had a lead in the series aside from winning the map, so... Oh no, they were up 3-2 on the cap. Either way, good bit of gameplay coming in from Water to secure themselves a Marsoc round, and not exactly what you want if you're Riot. That's especially on not your map pick. Kind of giving up that Volk advantage that they start with, but like I said, I don't know if that's even really an advantage on Suburbia. So
yeah, I think Suburbia is probably one of the more balanced maps out there, just because literally through the sheer amount of practice that has happened on this map. It is one of the most popular maps in all of the game, whether you're in a comp lobby or not. People just really seem to love it because it's a very intuitive map. It's very simply laid out. It's easy to understand. There's no verticality that you have to be really incredibly aware of, aside from the middle house and the spawn house, but those are pretty easy locations to understand, so naturally it gets picked up pretty quickly.
minute and a half between rounds here.
I thought it was 2 minutes.
Nope, used to be. Playing the league, you should know these things, Todd.
Like I said, I only know 50% of things that I say.
Still on the south side of Suburbia in terms of objectives. See if Riot can find the Marsoc round that they desperately need now. Tie things up 2-2.
Or get the cap and pull a reverse Water. Our Semper finding Reefer. The first 15 seconds there. That is a huge pick.
Waiting for that to happen. Engage didn't take any shots on a sweeping, although I think he did see sweeping, but unseen with a really nice peek through the shrubs. Instantly spots out that defender, takes him down, and out comes the utility onto objective. They don't really have anyone pushing in from playground, which is where I would expect the push to come from. They'd have to clear a couple more spots before they make any other sort of...
Yeah, and that lane 4 add-on assassin is still there. So that entry is still going to be very challenging, even if they do try to make that happen. It looks like that they are pushing lane 1, though, which is probably the weaker side, but they do have Semper watching that angle from a very powerful spot. So I'm kind of hesitant to really, you know, double down on that statement.
I mean, Phonic also has the backup angle in case they push past Semper. He can take out the backup. Phonic does here. Dr. Sean swings onto the window, finds those shots unseen and not able to find the refrag through the window. And Sweetbean's going to try and work his way through center building. Etch is there at window.
But yeah, he's got to be very careful here. I think Etch is just waiting for the right moment. No, he doesn't see it, but luckily Semper does, and he's able to find Sweetbean Jelly.
Not looking good for Riot right now. Momentum really starting to shift to the hands of Water. We're into a 4-2 unseen, still at center. Now Ebos going to try his hand at lane 4.
Yeah, we got Evos lane 4. Unseen still kind of patrolling lane 2. And I think Unseen's got the bigger task ahead of him. That middle house has just been a problem for Riot. I think the plan was to take the middle house by force, but then Reefer going down at literally the beginning of the round really threw Riot off.
It's such a common spot too, and they knew right where he died from. As soon as he died, they said we lost one to tank. So we know the angle's there. It's just interesting to try and challenge that.
I think they just don't want to try to get into a firefight with someone who has obviously the cover advantage. Tank is such a powerful spot. You know, if you're hiding back there, there's only a slit of your body that's really exposed, and if you're challenging that from any other area, the chances are at least half of your body is exposed at one point. So that math just does not add up to get into that battle.
Ebos hand signaling to Unseen that Aiden's right there. Unseen still going down to Aiden as he peeks up over the cover he has there. Ebos gonna try his hand at a nade, but I don't even think he knows where Aiden is. And the C4 goes off, catches out. Ebos just on the corner. Water push the lead 3-1.
What's really sad about that wasn't Evos that triggered the C4.
No.
It was the nade that triggered the C4 that killed.
No, I think the C4 went off before the nade. I think that was a triggered C4.
Well, we'll have to watch that on the replay, but I just remember seeing the C4 being placed there. I was thinking, like, will that trigger the C4? Like, lo and behold, at least from what I saw, it did. Granted, I can be wrong. I'm only right 50% of the time, so.
Fence.
Yep. I plead in what's
The 50%.
I plead the 50th.
Water. KD's looking strong. Our Semper 6-1. Aiden Assassin 4-2-0. Engage 420. Bean, and then you have a couple of, negative KDs there. If Dr. Sean Reefer having a tough time getting up on the board. Hopefully we don't have a lobby reset as we do having some disconnects.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Maybe they really don't like their score lines and they're just resetting them, but no, they're taking a little while. Maybe their game did crash. More and more people are
No, I think they're all resetting. I was hearing them talking, and I think they're doing a reset. I think we'll cut to a brief intermission while everyone resets their games, and we should be back into the action in, I would say, a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. More VRML action coming at you. We are about to be back into the action with round number 5 of map 2. Both squads in lobby, ready to go. Water on the cusp of taking the series, and we'll see if they can do it. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out through the intermission. We appreciate you. I think this is going to be Riot mounting a comeback, personally, Todd.
Yeah, the time is now. They've already lost map 1. They're on the verge of losing map 2. This is the time to pull all stops. Bring out any strategy that you think might work. This is the time to debut that. Looks like Water are doing a really heavy lane 1 push. Matter of fact, they're so invested into it that they've only left 1 person at the tank to account for any flanker that Riot might send their way. But Riot aren't sending flankers right now. They are playing extremely conservatively right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you do when you're on the edge of defeat. You got to make sure that you just play it straight up, play it conservative. Ebo's here looking for the cross. He has the angle through smoke, so he might be able to snag 1 or 2. C4 getting detonated there, not catching anyone out, but Sweet Bean here waiting for the action, and we're into a bit of a trade in pre-fire. Nothing connecting quite yet. Smokes are going to be gone soon, so they have to move.
Yeah, definitely Water have used up their smoke time, and that's going to hurt their crossing abilities. And now Reefer is working his way across. He might be able to shut down this lane 1 right here. And now if he peeks out here, he might be able to find add-on, but he has to just peek just a little bit more. Oh, he's waiting for add-on to push on up, which is the right thing to do. But it might serve him better just to find it here and there. He goes for 1. He goes for 2. He goes for 3, but he's not able to pull it off. It's such a good defense from Reefer, but he's just not able to help Riot at all as they lost 2 other members in that kerfuffle.
He just needed to stay tucked in. Just like you, he got overhyped on that angle and peeked it when he didn't need to. Could have stayed there. They had Sweet Bean watching, and Sweet Bean actually was the one that took out Engage. So if anything, he stopped Etch from making this cross, and now more smoke's going to come out. We'll see if that is a favorable smoke, and if Semper can prone his way underneath this very... I mean, there's not a whole lot here, and Sweet being able to find that angle pretty easily. No suppressive fire from Etch. Dr. Sean on the opposite end of the map picks up Phonic, and now we're into a 1v2.
And Riot have turned it around just like that. This is exactly what they needed at this point. Etch is the last one up. Can Etch get the double here and maybe secure this here and now? Kind of in a hero move, but it looks like he's going to try to go around the backside and maybe try to get a mini flank on Riot, but that's going to be really challenging because Sweet Bean is in a great spot to watch those lanes. Etch identifies Sweet Bean's position. Sweet Bean tucks on in and avoids any kind of harm, at least any permanent harm. Dr. Sean's also in a great spot to be able to try to locate Etch once he makes this rotation. But right now, Dr. Sean should just stay tucked. Oh, but he's not doing just that. He's trying to rotate to a different location, but lucky for him, not so lucky for Sweet Bean. He stays tucked, and Sweet Bean moves out, is able to get that kill. Right, will get a round win of their own just when they needed it most.
Solid round out of the hands of Riot. Very needed. They almost were out of it there, and I mean, even then, they still let their defense get picked apart a little bit too much for my liking. To have it come down to a 1v2 is certainly pretty dang close, but solid job from the Riot squad to hang in there. Now they go on the offense. They have to try and challenge this north red car objective, and it is not an easy one to cap on, and I think the best approach is really just to try and pick off the defense and secure the kills. How you do that effectively is really the question. You know, smokes across the street are an option, but we talked about that earlier. The defense can use them against you. They can rotate as well. So I just don't know what the really like guaranteed route for Riot is right now. Maybe a sneak cap to secure the map. You know, like there's a few different options.
I think everyone will agree that would be the ideal situation to get us into a map 3 decider, but they have to pull it off first to get there, and I will welcome that with every ounce of my body. A good old sneak cap. just like we saw earlier on map 1. I know Riot can pull it off, but question is, can they get themselves set up for that kind of a cap? This is one of the harder objectives. To do both of the objectives that you actually lined out, killing everyone on this defense is going to be really challenging because there's so many good places to get tucked in on that just moving into places to be able to find one angle is being watched by another angle.
Be careful with your peaks. You peek real quick and get. No, I'm not gonna peek. I'm only gonna listen for you. I'm just listening for you, bro.
Phonic gonna stay tucked in, gonna utilize Aiden as his beacon. Aiden tossing up and planting a pretty nice C4 on the underside of the house. Our Semper also positioning himself up in the forward patio. Standard defensive positions from Water, and I'm curious what Riot's attack is going to look like. It seems like it's going to be a 3-2 split.
Yeah, and they're going to try to pull off kind of the same thing that Water did, granted without the amplitude on lane 1, but it might work better to have the lower numbers on lane 1, because then you can divert the enemy attention with a simultaneous push on the other side. Plenty of utility going out to cover Reaper as he makes his cross. Reaper's main objective here should be able to find the enemy positions rather than trying to challenge them. It looks like he's going to try to toss an A, but that's going to land short.
This is what I'm talking about. The smoke's denying vision. Etch able to rotate. Engage catches sweeping coming up through the middle. Etch trying to find shots through the woods. Everyone ducking into cover and avoiding that. And that's going to deny a push through the smokes for now from Riot. So definitely a pause in their aggression here.
Yeah, Dr. Sean is able to find add-on though. Phonic will get that refrag though. Now we're into a 3v4 with Water on the slight one-man advantage.
Problem.
22 remaining on the clock. Riot are still pretty locked down in lane 1.
The problem is now they're out of utility. You know, it's I think they used up everything to try and make that cross that then got denied by Etch, and so now they're in a really bit of an awkward spot. Do you go back and, I don't know, can they pillage their teammates for utility? I'm not sure it's really an option anymore, and Reefer has to cover from two sides. A great frag there. Nice pickup by Semper on the shield. Keeps things relatively even. Still a 3-2.
Yeah, Reefer's able to call out where these shots are coming out from, which is vital information for Riot in order to be able to stage some form of a attack that they so desperately need. If they lose this round, they lose the game. I don't feel like I have to reiterate that, but I will. And Semper's position has just been key to this defense.
Yeah, what they need is they need Unseen to challenge it. They know where he is because Reaper's been calling it out. So they need Unseen to apply a little pressure, some pre-fire, maybe just some rounds downrange. And I think this res is doable here. Ebos may be able to actually prone up even with Semper looking.
He's there. He's on middle house porch.
Yeah, it can be a little challenging with the fences there. It kind of blocks the vision, especially at range. You know how these headsets work with the pixels. You're literally looking for pixels, but that doesn't stop Semper. He's able to identify Ebos and get that pick. Now it's literally all up to Unseen here to mount some form of an attack. He has all the data basically coming in around him, or sound, to give him these keys to where the locations are, but they don't give him precise locations. They don't give him exact data, but he has to work with whatever senses he's got and try to formulate some kind of battle plan.
Standard defensive spots here. Unseen should be aware that someone's in the patio. Been called out extensively.
I think he's trying to search for it, but it's a little hard through the bushes, especially with a black uniform on a black backdrop through some pretty dark bushes.
Not checking that patio.
Looking the right way. Ooh, he has to dodge some bullets from Semper, but luckily Semper doesn't really understand where his location was, and he's able to get that rotation going. It looks like he's going to try to go for the res instead. which is risky because
I mean, he's got like 20 seconds maybe. Reefer's been down for a long time.
yeah. I think he understands what's going on. Yeah, he's giving up on that res.
The fight is still alive in Riot, though. They don't want to forfeit this one. Semper's getting a little aggressive. Unseen might be able to find an opportunity. He does get one, turning the odds. Now 1v2.
You know, now that I think about it, with that rotation coming out from Semper, that would have been the perfect time to go for the res. Because Semper's the one who's been shutting those down, but unfortunately that's just not how it played out. Now it's all up to Unseen here to find two. Like you said, with 1 minute remaining here, the hype is real. This is Riot's last breaths here. Can they secure this or get at least a round win? That's all they need, is just a round win to stay in the game. A cap would be ideal, but I don't think it's happening at 45 seconds unless Unseen really pulls off some magic here.
We'll see if Phonic stays true to his word and actually stays tucked in, or if he is going to decide to peek up and over here, because it could be an opportunity for Unseen to find the headshot. But now he's already glazed over that defensive angle, so Phonic has a chance to pop up and get these shots here onto Unseen.
He's getting really aggressive, and Phonic is just ready for that. Water will take the game with a nice 4-2 map finish.
Called everybody wrong about their connoisseur votes, but here we are. One's right. Water have managed to secure themselves the series, albeit pretty close. Riot really putting on a nice application of pressure there onto this Water squad, and our Semper kind of going off there. 10-3 on Suburbia.
Yeah, I definitely think that the Riot definitely had a huge chance going into this game. Just that unfortunate cap really got Water going, and really got the momentum going on their side, and Water got into gear. They were able to kind of get the mentality together, and they have just been on the run with this game ever since.
Where to go for map 3? A couple of options on the table. Cargo obviously not one of them, so he really kind of cleared out the close quarters options. Tanker is still there, or Downfall.
And Riot have been doing relatively good on Tanker before, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Tanker pick. Downfall, in my experience, has kind of been, at least in the Riot days, has been a bit of trouble for me. But granted, this is a newer Riot we're looking at, so maybe they are a bit more Downfall friendly, and we can see them kind of flourish on the long range maps, which maybe that's just what they needed in the end.
Third map of the day is going to be Tanker. The close quarters theme stays alive. What do you think we're gonna get here? Some chaos or some back and forth like we've been seeing?
Oh, Tanker loves its chaos. Even beginners tapped into their chaotic side one time, I believe. With us Knight against Lobochem, they just pulled off one of the quickest beginners rounds I have ever seen and got the win off of it with just pure aggression, and I'm almost bummed we don't see beginners use that more often.
No subs either. Usually I like to argue. Oh, I think actually Xandria's subbing in. I stand
Yes.
corrected. Usually a good idea to bring in your subs when you've finalized the series and you have the third map to play, because subs are very valuable. You got to keep them. You got to keep them practiced. You got to keep them fresh in the league, because you never know when you need them.
Bench warmers. You really don't want your sub being bench warmers. Like that's just gonna. That's not a way to build a team, you know. At least get them going, get them in on the easy games if you feel like that they need a little more practice, and get them in after you've lost or won the game, just to kind of make sure that they feel included. And we can't really call Xandria so much of a sub because he is the team captain, but
Very true. Very true.
He kind of calls these shots here, so I guess he wanted in on the fun. He did replace Sweet, or no, I'm sorry. He replaced Ebos on this one. And also could, you know, just be, oh, there's a scheduling issue, so I'll just take your spot after, you know, the last map because you have to go make dinner for the kids or whatnot. Because, you know, they're people, they got lives.
Right.
Half of Onward from a team captain's perspective is literally just scheduling, so you kind of have to, you memorize, like, oh, this guy lives on the West Coast, so he gets off of work 3 hours later than I do, or, you know, whatever.
Right. Yeah. As does any, you know. That's how you got to operate. Want to be an effective team. Got to make the sacrifices and know each other's schedules. And we'll see if Riot can muster up a map win and be an effective team on Tanker. Up on in map 3, round 1.
Alright, I'm gonna go left. Get close
Oh
to
man, I forgot night vision got back.
I think the words that describe Tanker the most to me is, I forgot night vision.
What an amateur. What a noob. What an amateur over there.
Why don't everyone? Oh, I could have smoked it. Oh, there's suppressor.
Couple of smokes going out. First seconds of the round there, trying to create a little bit of chaos. Doesn't look like Riot's fully committed on the aggression just yet, but Reaper is peeking out, identifying enemy positions, and pressuring Water just a little bit. Maybe that's just what Water need, but it turns out that is what Water need, as Etch is able to find Dr. Sean.
Nade up and over, just a bit too far on to Etch. Xandria could have picked off Etch there if he was just holding the angle. Etch getting a little overzealous. Phonic on the back end does pick up Xandria. Reefer here is subject to Phonic's suppressive fire with the shields. R. Semper picks up unseen as he tries to rotate to Reefer, and now suddenly we're into a 1v4 as Sweeping was going to push underground, decided not to, is rotated back up to an entirely dead squad.
Yeah, it's kind of the awkward moment when you think you're rolling with, you know, your guys, and then suddenly they're all just gone off the tablet. It is probably one of the worst feelings when you're playing as a team, to know that everyone else is, you don't have any of the support and you haven't heard any call-outs for kills from them. And unfortunately, that's just the way it's going to roll. Water going to get a perfect round against Riot on the first one on Tanker. Riot's pick nonetheless.
They have certainly run away with the momentum here, and good bit of, I don't know, it's gonna be a fast one, I think, for this final map. Water's been so great this series, you know, despite the issues they've had in this season. For their first win, they certainly earned it, you know. They getting that cap on map 1, and now trying to secure a third map. It's a good bounce back, and I'm wondering, you know, what was preventing that from happening in those first three maps of the season, or first 3 matches of the season, excuse me. And Water for me is always a team that I like to watch because they did do so well in season 9, kind of climbing that ladder. I expect to sort of see that again in season 10, but I guess when you're up at the top of the ladder, it's a little bit harder to climb it, right?
Yeah, and granted, Water have gone, like I said before, Water have gone through a lot of lineup changes, so we do talk about Water season 9, how great they were, but this is a newer Water we are looking at, and they have had a couple hiccups here and there, and so it's good to see them, you know, really begin to lock down their strategy and kind of begin operating more and more as a team. And we can definitely see them, you know, challenging even higher level teams further on down the line, especially with the lineup that they've got. It is full of veteran players. You really couldn't get any better than that.
Todd, in your infinite knowledge, who is the captain of Water?
Who is the captain of Water? Add-on Assassin.
Where you going, sweetie?
Formerly Kija, though.
I'm only gonna go push up the mid, try to get my map.
See if we get some aggressive push from water here. The upstairs, the top floor objective, certainly one that gets pushed pretty hard and fast. And Semper Aiden, the Mob Squad guys on this team, known to push aggressively. Aiden already sprinting through the smokes. Unseen tries to catch him on the toes, has to stand up, does get the kill there in time. Rest of the team lagging behind as Xandria is propped up from underneath the stairs, has the back of some of these attackers exposed. Nice defense from Etch the Boss. Engage rotating himself underground, and he may be able to be in a threatening position soon enough.
Yeah, Xandria does really like those flanks, but sometimes you could just predict those and it works extremely well in the enemy team's favor. But Engage is working his way on there. Dr. Sean isn't exactly ready for it. There's a battle going around the barrels there, but Dr. Sean will win that game of Ring Around the Rosie, and Riot will tie it up on round 2.
Fast pace, as expected. And we're, that top objective, yeah, you're gonna get the quick pushes. So that the series is already decided. You're gonna get that kind of hot, quick-paced action.
I think old school danglers really made that objective very famous for their incredibly quick caps, just running up there under full smoke, and before the enemy team knew what was going on, they would just already have the code memorized and in by the time there was even a rotation from Volk. So I think that objective has become really synonymous with hard, aggressive pushes. For some reason, I don't know what it is really about the layout so much that allows for such aggressive pushes, but regardless, whenever I'm having to defend that objective personally, I always think about the aggressive push that could come.
Objective, are we still on the top floor?
Well, we are below decks now. This one's always been really interesting when it comes to caps.
Mm-hmm.
And a thing to reiterate, even though that uses the same kind of models or kind of cover that you would see in cargo, where in cargo it's not bulletproof. You can shoot through them, but on tanker, those same boxes that you see on cargo suddenly are bulletproof. So you have to take that into account, that the cover is much stronger on tanker.
See just how strong it is as we hop into round number 3. We are in the middle of the ship. Bottom floor. Curious how Riot is going to attack, what sort of aggression Water may apply. No, it's all a mystery.
It's all a mystery. Well, we're gonna find out in the next 6 minutes, though. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Unseen is trying to shoot through the crate there, and it's not working because, well, that crate's just absorbing all those bullets. Now they're passing through. I don't know what this tanker is shipping, but whatever it is pretty solid.
A lot of Kevlar apparently. Reefer here with the nade, primes it. Gonna toss it around the corner. A great toss. Threads the needle, catches 2.
Wow. Very nicely done. The reses can come out, but both those reses are very dangerous. A counter nade comes out. Unseen's able to find add-on in the mess there. Etch is finally able to get a down onto Reefer, maybe get a revive as well. Goes for his confirm. Phonic comes into the picture as well as the downstairs begins to fall apart here. One more revive is left for Water in order to be able to get back into their full strength. Phonic takes the shield. Engage is able to trade with Xandria. Sweet Bean rotates back because he knows that he's not in the best spot to be attacking a shield in a corridor.
Dr. Sean's worked his way in. He might be a seriously unseen threat. Aiden goes down. Etch now has to worry. Phonic on the rotation away from objective here. If Etch goes down, it's an open OBJ. Now Phonic on a wide rotation actually may pay off. He may find Dr. Sean. The shield is out here. The shots come in. None of them land. Sean's still alive. Looking for the shots onto Phonic. Does find them, and Riot take the lead 2-1.
Yeah, I don't know why on earth Phonic was just trying to re-grab his shield, especially out in the middle when he knows that the enemy could just easily re-peek up there. Especially when he doesn't have the utility to attack with the shield as effectively as like a laser pistol. So a bit of a mystery to me as to what the mindset there was, but I think he was just trying to grab whatever cover he could, and Dr. Sean just really took full advantage of that situation.
All right, might be able to take this map. Water may relax just a little bit too much. I wonder if they're just going to kind of keep flinging themselves at objective on offense, or if they will approach it a little more tactically. They certainly did have a plan on defense, though, to their credit. So Riot just doing a nice job of infiltrating, and that key nade picking up 2 really just ruined their whole defensive strategy.
Yeah, it required all the rotations to happen, and Riot just really capitalized on it. Also, having Dr. Sean come into the opposite, literally the opposite corridor that Unseen was going in, forced a lot of rotations to come out from water, and that just threw their advantage out the window. I don't know how loosey-goosey water are getting, but
Yeah, right.
they are. Riot is definitely using the full 2 minutes or a minute and a half to plan a defense here.
Half, Todd. It hasn't been 2 minutes for almost like a year.
Like I said, I'm not always right, man. Just because I have the really nice microphone and an amazing community of viewers doesn't mean I'm right.
You're going up the middle corner. Okay. Don't go. I don't know what I'm gonna do after that, but that's where I'm going.
Woo, go. Tell you what.
Got it.
Thanks, Mom.
Add on. Ooh, trades with Reaper Madness. It looks like Engage is gonna scavenge off of his dead friend. Xandria might get cut off here pretty soon as Engage begins to peek out, but that could work if Unseen begins to peek. But Xandria is getting really aggressive right here. Oh, he catches out Engage by surprise. Really well executed there. Riot still 4 strong. Water have gone down to 3 strong. Now they have to worry about that far left push. It looks like one member of Water will be going to the far back of the stern of the ship to try to pull off a Dr. Sean as well.
Ooh, I don't know if Xandria's going to be ready for Phonic on the corner. Somehow he wins the trade. Etch also going to peek, does get the refrags, and finally going down, but not before his teammate was confirmed. And the 3v2, the C4 detonated. That's what I heard him talking about earlier. Xandria's running up the tunnel with the C4 on his chest. That's why he was playing so aggressive.
Yeah, Xandria just really loves doing those suicide C4 runs. It's not only funny, it just catches everyone by surprise. And granted, when I was on the team, we tried doing it, and I wasn't the best on that clacker, but I'm glad that him and his team have really perfected that art. And whenever you play against Riot, never trust a dead body.
Semper.
Yeah. Being to make his move on in. Dr. Sean is right there. Dr. Sean is moving a little bit. So I'm like, oh, he's just spoken. Semper knows exactly what's going on. They trade, but Riot will get another map win here. I'm sorry, round win. I'm not speaking correctly. I'm telling you, man, I'm not right all the time.
And we know what 50% of that meant.
Yeah.
We're going to switch things up quite drastically, though. Not necessarily an objective you can slowly push. One that is usually highly toxic. And I guess it's a good way to potentially end the series. Water could pick up both rounds here. Be a nice little comeback for them. But Riot with a fun lead now. Looking to secure at least one map in the series.
Yeah, getting that 1 point is so useful when it comes to the MMR. And I think it's going to be so useful in general. This has been such a tight game so far, even though the map score line really hasn't reflected that. Like, we started off Cargo on a 3-4, and then Water just worked off that to get the double map win. I don't think a 3-0 would really represent how well Riot are playing. So I really hope they're able to get on the board with a map here to kind of show for their efforts.
Here we go. Round number 5. The upstairs center objective. Top floor. Not easy to defend. Curious to see what Water do on the defense.
Yeah, this one's a little bit more. This one's a little bit more tricky to defend because there is not nearly as much cover as that downstairs, you know, sister objectives this one is. But regardless, it can also be challenging for Marsoc because Tanker just has so much cover all around. It's almost impossible to check every single bit to make sure that you're clear as you move up.
Aggressive Semper's playing this, man. He's all the way pushed up here. Unseen not looking for him. He catches out Xandria.
Unseen might be able to get the angle on Semper if he just peeks out just a little bit more. But I think Semper is already watching that angle, so it wouldn't be in his favor. But, you know, cargo strats included, Unseen could just look underneath the container doors and maybe be able to find it if he understands the positioning well enough.
Little flank getting put on right now. It's probably the right choice. Engage and Aiden are the only back here. Although I guess I did just see Itch kind of checking an angle on the backside.
Yeah, and Semper is peeking out now. He hears Dr. Sean. Dr. Sean goes to check the angle. Semper isn't ready. He's going to be able to clean that one up. It looks like Dr. Sean's going to continue his role here as he tries to find... Oh, he's looking for Phonic. Sweet Game's able to find add-on and Engage. A nice little double. A nade goes out. Engage finds Dr. Sean. I'm sorry, Phonic finds Dr. Sean. Unseen sees Edge, but is not able to make those shots line up. Now the refrag attempt comes out from Edge, but that is not able to happen. Reefer is able to get that flank completed, and now Water is just one man. The capping opportunity was there, but Riot is not here for a cap. They are here to kill.
Solid job securing that final round and the final map of the series from Riot. Not quite enough and a little bit too late, but a good performance either way. Water, in the end of the day, taking away the series. I think losing in points. Tied actually, 9-9.
Wow.
So yeah, interesting to see the connoisseur vote so heavily favoring Water when in reality it was a game than hated. But
yeah, it's always exciting. Water play for that matter as well. They're both very aggressive teams. They bring the fast-paced action. Granted, in different kind of styles, but still aggressive nonetheless. So it's always a very fun watch. Both of these teams are teams to really look out for as we go on through the season. I think they're going to perform very well.
Quick shout out to everyone in chat: Enigma, Control Flirt, Snooper, Let's Dink, Mixmasteral, 404 Onward, Too Old. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and catching the stream. We do appreciate you guys stopping by. Obviously, it's the only reason we do the casts. It's for you guys to come and watch the streams. And just a few weeks from now, it'll be for a lot more potential people once we hit that quest. Very excited to have that be indoctrinated into the, not indoctrinated, be welcomed into our community, because it's going to be a very good time. Very excited about it. Also, a quick shout out to our sponsors: Fixed Gaming VR, Cover, Pro2 VR, Rebuff Reality, Cyber Shoes, as well as V-Haptics. So much for sponsoring the league. Appreciate it. That's going to be it from us here at the desk. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's, my co-caster TFH. We will see you all later this week with a lot more VRML action. Don't miss it. Thanks for tuning in.